Hello, America. My name is Rhea Angel King, and I am a transgender woman, an American transgender woman. I was born right in the great state of Maine. Like most of you, I was taught in school that America is a melting pot of cultural, ethnic. Don't judge me. But as I was saying, America, as most of us were taught in school, that America is a cultural melting pot. We have different cultures, different ethnicities, different languages, different religions. And that's what this country was founded on. It was founded on the right to seek who you choose to worship, to seek what you choose to do with your life, to seek your own personal happiness. Now let's take a step back here. Most of our ancestors who came to this country were seeking freedom of religion, freedom of expression, and freedom to find their own happiness. Freedom to do what they wanted to do and not be persecuted for that. Freedom to do what makes them happy. Freedom to speak out against tyrants and people that they didn't agree with without fear of persecution or going to prison or being murdered for what they believe. That made me proud to be an American, to know that, yeah, we weren't perfect, but we were slowly working towards it. We had great movements like the African Americans movement, the feminist movement, gay rights movement, trans movement, the right to basically seek your own happiness in this world, to seek the opportunity to improve yourself and pull you out of the gutter. That's my America. Now, fast forward 2025. We get to actually go to 2016 when he first did his first term. But his first term wasn't nearly what this term is. So, first day in office, he signs executive orders that make trans people's paperwork, documents, illegit. He signs executive orders to take immigrant criminals. Let's pause right there for a second. Because not all the people that Trump is deporting is criminals. Most of them, the only thing they did wrong was cross the fucking border, which is trespassing. Trespassing is a misdemeanor. I would say hardly a criminal offense. I digress. He signs orders that ICE can start doing raids and take these immigrant criminals and deport them, get them out of this country. And if their countries won't have them, good, they're going to Guantanamo Bay, where they're going to be tortured, where they're going to be raped, and any other number of gruesome atrocities to humans, to the human species, to humans' rights. Trump is taking all of our rights. You know, the other thing that he's trying to do is to turn us against our allies. Canada, Mexico, Greenland, Europe, Eurasia. He's trying to turn us against all of that, or trying to turn them all against us, and succeeding, by the way. And instead of backing our allies, he's backing a dictator. He's backing a communist nation. Hold up here. Just a few years ago, wasn't there a fight? We fought against the dictator, fascist dictator. I believe y'all heard of him. Adolf Hitler. Committed mass murder on Jews, gays, everybody. Anybody who wasn't blonde hair, blue-eyed. Sounding familiar yet? And back a few years ago, well, I'd say 40, 50 years ago now, there was a thing in the United States called, what was it called again? The Red Scare. That was a communist, anti-communist fight that we fought in this country because we thought communism was taking over. Propaganda spread that communism was taking over, and we fought against it. Now, we stood against a dictator. We stand against communism. We stood for the little guy who couldn't fight for themselves. We did that. That's why we were the nation that everybody turned to when world policing needed to be done. Because we made sure people were taken care of. We fought for the little guy. Now, we're backing dictators in communist nations? That's not America. I don't know what that is, but that is not America. Look through history, people. Do your own research. Go ahead. Let me help you out here. Keyword term, Red Scare. Look for that. Read all about that. That's America's fight against communism. Look for World War II. That's all you need for the dictator. Fascist dictator Hitler. We fought against that. And out of all of that, NATO was created. Threatening to pull us out of NATO? We are the fucking powerhouse in NATO. We are the one who basically funds most of NATO. Yeah, other countries help. But you pull us out of that. You pull us off the world stage, period. You take our power on the world stage. Not only is he backing fascist dictators and communist nations, he's pulling us out of NATO. The entity that was created to fight against fascist dictators, fight against communism, fight against people who would overthrow other countries, people who would take from other countries. That's what NATO was created for. A group of nations committed to fighting tyranny, committed to fighting communism. And we're being pulled out of it. Because Trump doesn't want us in there. Because if he's in there, he can't back Putin. He can't back China. Today, he's going after minorities, trans people, gays. He's going after the mentally ill, the people who can't fight for themselves, because they are many, we are few. He's going after the mentally challenged. He's going after trans people, gays. He's going after anybody, all of the minority classes. Today, it's us. We are the enemy today. What happens? Ask yourself this question. What happens when he succeeds in finishing with us? Who do you think he's coming for next? Who do you think whose rights do you think are going to be violated next? Whose jobs are going to be targeted next after he's done with us? Let me tell you, he's going to come for you. So now, we must ask ourselves, do we want this white bureaucrat nation, or do we want the cultural diversity, the equality, the rights that our Constitution guarantees us now? If that's what you want, if you want your rights, you want your constitutional rights, you want your life to continue as it is with the cultural diversity that we have currently, then it's time to make a stand. Tell your Congress, go protest in the streets. Do everything in your power to not go silently into the night. Do everything in your power to stand up to this tyrant. To stand up to this tyrant and his rich bureaucratic friends. such as Elon Musk, such as Jeff Bezos, such as all of them. Time to stand up and say, this is not what we want. Time for those of us whose ancestors were poor and built this country on their backs. Time for those of us whose ancestors stood up and said no. Time for those of us who are now here to stand up and repeat what our ancestors did and say, no, we don't want this. This is not America. We don't want your tyranny, Trump. We don't want your tyranny, Musk. We don't want your tyranny, you rich bureaucratic fucks. Because you don't have a clue what it's like to be lower and middle class. You don't have a clue what it's like to be poverty stricken. You don't have a clue what it's like to shuffle paycheck to paycheck just to survive. How can you when daddy gave you everything you needed? When daddy helped you start out? How can you know what the struggle is? You can't. You can't unless you've spent a day or a week. Hell, most of you couldn't spend 5 minutes in the shoes of a person impoverished. Most of you couldn't spend 5 minutes in the shoes of a working class citizen who has to do a 9 to 5. Building them roads, building them bridges, building them fucking towers that you rest in your fat ass in your office. Most of you couldn't last 5 minutes in the lives of us who build this country, who keep this country running. And until you do, you don't have the right to take our rights. You don't have the right. And I, for one, will stand here and fight for what I believe in. Who's with me?